this is the most ambitious project that I've ever taken on. By far, I hope I hope my client doesn't see this. Oh, he will. Or she will. Who's to say who it is? All right. So today we're going to talk about just the most ambitious AI thing I've ever done. And what I'm trying to do is take the best in-class account research document that Nate Nostrala sent to me, thankfully. I hope he's okay with me sharing it. He's a great guy. And take all of the context from a company's public information that are publicly listed and create an account brief. That means that I'm going to be putting together like gigantic documents and trying to get AI to force creative stuff inside of a great account research brief. Most of the stuff that I have done to date is very workflow heavy. Now, this will require some of that expertise, but this is both workflow heavy and insight heavy, which is to say that we're not looking for a signal. What's a signal, right? Like, no, we're actually trying to take a corpus of information about what the company cares about and match that to what the person cares about in their role. And that is a monumental task. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact way that I think about this, and we're going to do this just at low scale. And people are always trying to automate things. Just do it by hand first. The nice thing about doing it by hand is that, and you should probably do it with an expert. So I'm not an expert in this field, so I'm not going to be able to challenge the model here. So I'm going to walk you through the thinking, but really you want to have a co-pilot that's an expert that has done this manually before and can say, Jordan, that's not good, or, well, I know this 10K and blah, blah. So I want to dive in. Let's dive in. Too much undiving in. All right. So I've got this key account brief, right? And this is the idea that this is the research that you need, right? Like, here's the annual objective. Here's like how it works. Here are the key deliverables. We tried failed solution. We can't find outcome because of problem. Executive team is pushing to reach this goal by this date. Here's the KPIs. And so I'm going to try to get AI to fill in all this information. I have no idea how well this will work. I could be working for this company. All right. So I just like pasted in their website here because first I want it to do some world building. So I'm really just going to give it as much context as I can, and this is actually where an expert would really help. But having customer case studies is probably really useful here. So let's just, all I'm trying to do, Mind Tickle, what a funny name. All right, I'm just going into Claude and just pasting things. Because I want to build up context on what the hell this thing is, who it's for, how customers talk about it. And you notice that I'm using Sonnet here. Sonnet is performs, oh, I guess it was like small enough of a, all right. So this is helpful because I'm going to get it to really build a mind map. This is kind of, if you think about it, what SDRs do is that they have to get context on the customer. In this case, I know this is like really boring to watch me copy and paste, but this is actually the best way to do this thing because you understand at every step of the way. Okay. And summarize everything about this company, given your context. ChatGPT can actually go and surf the site too, but I prefer Claude here because you can just like now define the ICP and persona. I like Claude because it has a much larger context window. It's 200,000 tokens. Now, when I operationalize this, I'm going to do this in Gemini, which is a 1,000,000 token window, which is 1,000 pages, which is a lot of context. And summarize why customers like it. So I just wanted to start thinking, right? So well, who's the ACP? Who's this thing valuable to? And then what we're going to do is we're going to just give it like earnings calls transcripts to start. Great. All right. So I'm just going to paste in these earnings calls. Now, this would be more useful if I knew something about the account actually, but I don't. So I'm going to take the 10K, which is where we'll also pull in this information. PDF. I want a text file. Excel? Give me a 10K in Excel? Code? Okay. This one? Yeah, okay, this one. I think I can just select all. Perfect. Okay, so it's probably going to puke. Wow, it didn't puke. Claude is really nice because it will tell you if it's going to puke. It's like, I can't, it's too much information. So we've got and then great, let's actually get some news here to understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to go Google, and I actually care about partnerships. So I'm just going to, I got my emoji panel open. You know, you never know when you need a good emoji. Partnership. All right. And then I'm going to use this fancy thing after 2023. So I just want to know the key partnerships that they have announced this year. This is probably pretty good. You can kind of see this. There's a lot of great. There's a lot of context. You just need to know where to get it, and all the automation actually is not crazy difficult in Clay. I say that because for this particular project, I'm not the one doing the automation, so it's easy for me to say. Okay, multiple minutes to respond. Great. So it's like, yo, these prompts take multiple minutes to respond, which is fine. It's just basically telling me that's not useful. This doesn't look like a partnership. Partner. Oh, that's cool. Avatars. Yeah. Oh, Sunder. Yeah. Okay. This is like good enough. You generally can get great. This is a partnership. And no one knows what they should be automating at low scale. This is actually I should probably actually look at some of this. These are the financial results, which okay, grab this too. All right, great. Summarize everything that's going on at NVIDIA that could possibly be useful for WorkSpan. Okay, so now while that's happening, what I ideally want to do is get this key account brief created. So I'm going to pop back. If this doesn't, I hope that this is magical and it just really works. It's not going to work. Okay. Okay, below is a key account brief that a seller at WorkSpan would likely complete. Every time you see a bracket, that's where I want you to insert information. So go and find the places where there are really important variables where we would want to be filled out. Now, it's possible the context I give you actually can't fill that out. Just make a note at the end. Do your best, and at the end say, if I could learn more about X, Y, or Z, I would look for those things in these places. For example, I gave you the 10K, but you might say that the that their 10Q is actually a better form that could surface better information. So you do your best to fill this out with the information you have. For the things that you're not sure about, please comment at the end of completing this document and make sure that there is not only tremendous specificity, but that you cite your sources, which is to say that I want to make sure that everything that is said is only from the context that you have. And at the end of the document too, I want you to have a sources cited with the quote specifically where you got this information from and why you believe it to be true. Now create this document at pretending to be a AE at WorkSpan that has just completed this research on NVIDIA. All right. So this is Super Whisper here, which is nice because I can just talk. And ironically, this uses OpenAI. So it's kind of funny. All right. I wonder if I should upload the document. Look at all my crazy thumbnails. Let's go desktop. Did I download? I think I downloaded this. I did. Okay. This is the framework in text. All right. Let's just, well, I should probably just do this. Attached as text. Ta-da! Look, it's the AI SDR of the future. I like how it's like, yo, it might take a while. We're basically sorting. We're doing your job for you in 10 minutes. Well, okay. Partnerships, okay. Partner-driven sales. Scale they're rapidly going. Tracking impact. Okay, so I think that this probably did a partner onboarding for enterprise customers. See, this is really interesting. See, cloud. Okay, now see, this is where a partner is going to ask better questions here about like this, this piece here. Current partner ecosystem, right? All right. Current partner management process. Yeah. Okay. Say more about this quote. Where did you find it? And outline this. Okay, so what I'm kind of doing here is that Nate gave me this really fantastic strategy here, and I think some of these things are really silly, right? You can see like that it's trying to like internal partner management system. So it doesn't really have the context here, so I have to kind of correct it that you might not have some of that information. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. So you can see that this is a real challenge, right? And so I always have AI double back on itself to be like, yo, okay. Hardware integration. Oh, these are their partners. Great. So you can see that there's like, now I'm understanding a little bit more about their partner ecosystem. Focus, integration. Okay. Okay, great. How should I, as WorkSpan, think about each of these partners separately. So you can kind of see how, and the way that I'm going to solve for this, like where it's like, yo, I just made this up. And actually, I wonder if I looked for this, if this would be anywhere. Let's just Google this. Streamline our partner onboarding. So this is how you can also do this structurally, right? So if I basically find a quote like this, I can go back on Google to check this, right? Partner news with Microsoft, right? Our partners help create technology foundations for enterprises. So you can kind of see that this person is talking about partnerships, but our partners, but it's not specific enough, I think. Okay, we actually have listed 220 data centers, so we have some understanding about what their partners care about. So this is basically a way that you can go check. This is ServiceNow, which I think we actually put in the chat. So we didn't. Unfortunately, this was a little bit of a failed experiment. But you can kind of see that if you provided enough context here, and okay, great, WorkSpan angle, product launches, and you can see what is the focus for each of these partners, and like how exactly what's the WorkSpan angle, which is really interesting. So you might also say and you can see how this process will dive you and will basically allow you to take a large unstructured information and figure out what you should be looking at. How do you know about how they are doing any of 1 through 6 today? Based on the context I provided. Any more? So actually, I don't know if WorkSpan would do this. Yeah, okay, great. Cloud service providers, OEMs. Okay, great. There's wide range of service. So we know actually we did see indications of this here I looked at this. Great. And look at the actual list of partners. That's great. Key hardware and software partners, industrial robotics. Yeah, so you can kind of see if I were to pick one, there's the first 3 have more context. We would need, great, okay, thanks. Yeah, so you can sort of see that you can nudge this thing in the right direction to start helping you. And if you have an expert and that expert has market insights and they know what they're looking for, suddenly you can start to get towards a place where a large amount of text is able to be synthesized so that you know of all the things that NVIDIA is thinking about, how are they thinking about this specifically? And these models are getting both cheap and really easy to run, especially inside tools like Clay. I'm just doing this by hand because the really hardest thing is what is the workflow? We're working right now on just structuring and getting this information, but then the real hard part is once you have the context, the WorkSpan context, and the context about the each of the, like, you basically programmatically can get the context for an account at a row level. The real question is, how do you structure that? How do you take that information and make it meaningful and create the connection between what WorkSpan cares about and basically summarizing down all of the stuff that NVIDIA cares about. And the very best way, almost always, to do this is to provide it a bunch of additional context and have it step by step slow its thinking, summarize the parts of the doc that are relevant. Now take those summaries and expand upon them, check them. Great. Now that that's good, now prepare an account research doc. And that's the type of process here that's going to provide you a lot of value. Thanks so much for watching. I know we didn't get to something actionable and done in this case, but this is the process of building. And sometimes you have to take big swings. And every time you push the envelope a little bit more and you work harder and harder to really challenge these models, they are consistently performing. And when you find their limits, especially at low scale like this, what you're going to have to go double check. And a perfect example of how we're going to do that is we're going to go, if we find a quote or whatever, we're going to go search for that quote online and be like, where did this come from? Is this valid? And so the workflow is defined by how you do stuff at low scale. And if you can do that, suddenly you can automate a lot of the stuff that a really, really great seller does. Thanks. Adios. Happy 4th of July.